What if I told you that not every document with a signature is a negotiable instrument, and if you use the wrong one, they may call it frivolous? In this video, I'm breaking down what actually counts as a negotiable instrument under law, how to use one lawfully, and how to avoid getting laughed out of court or rejected by creditors when trying to perform. Now, before we dive into this video, I've studied the UCCC, commercial law, business banking, private banking, consumer law, forming versus paying, and in this video my entire goal is to pretty much explain exactly what a negotiable instrument is. You hear about the promissory notes, remittance, bonds, things of that nature, and we're going to break down exactly what a negotiable instrument is, because understanding what a negotiable instrument actually puts you in a position to not only discharge debt, but it puts you in a position, if you can't discharge debt, to now be able to negotiate whatever the contract that you are planning to use the negotiable instrument on. Okay, so make sure you stick around all the way to the end, because we're going to be debunking and also at the same time clearing up the air when it comes to negotiable instrument. What is a proper negotiable instrument? Okay, if you're brand new, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the post notifications, because we do post Monday through Friday. Now, one thing I want to point out as well is that this is not legal advice. It's not financial advice. All my rights are reserved according to UCC 1-308. Now, let's dive into this information, okay? This video is sponsored by the Fund Yourself Academy. My step-by-step system designed to help you fix your credit, get funding, and build real financial freedom from scratch. If you're tired of feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just ready to stop living paycheck to paycheck, this is where it changes. Inside the Academy, I break down everything from consumer law secrets that they don't teach in school, to how to remove negative items and boost your score, get access to business funding, and start building multiple income streams online. Whether you're just starting out or ready to level up your game and get the bag, this is your playbook. We've got tools, templates, dispute letters, mentorship calls, private community access, and an exact roadmap I use to leave my 9-to-5 and create time freedom. But only for a limited time, you can get access to the Fund Yourself Academy on a free trial basis for the next 7 days. And then after that, you pay less than $1 a day at $27 a month, if you like it. No fluff, just facts and just freedom. Go to the fundyourselfacademy.com or hit the link in the description to join now, because nobody's coming to save you, but you can fund yourself. This is going to be a really quick video breaking down what a negotiable instrument is and help you understand how to use it as it pertains to negotiating your contracts. Now, the first thing that I want to pull up, and of course we talk about this in probably 100% of my videos, okay? But we kind of just go over it quickly, and I kind of move as if a person already knows what it is. But what a negotiable instrument is, okay, is it means a unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money with or without interest and other charges described in the promise or order if it is payable to the bearer to order at the time it is issued, payable on demand, so on and so forth. It says it's an order that meets the requirements. Instrument means a negotiable instrument. Promise or order other than a check is not an instrument. Instrument is a note if it is a promise, and it is a draft if it's an order. So again, all of these, there's a couple of things that indicate that a lot of the stuff that we talk about on this channel is a negotiable instrument. Now, why am I making this video about negotiable instruments? Because even when we create a negotiable instrument, sometimes we may create it improperly, okay? And sometimes we are unable to enforce it just because we improperly created a negotiable instrument. Also want to highlight that your negotiable instrument is just like this dollar. This dollar is a negotiable instrument as well. Say promise to pay dollar. Now, given the fact that a negotiable instrument is a unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money with or without interest or other charges that is payable to the bearer or to the order, here are some of the key features it must include. Number one, it must be a written instrument, okay? Whether it's going to be paper or electronic. So you have to physically write it or type it, okay? Print it out. It must have an unconditional promise to pay. When you go back to UCC 3-104, it says it right there on the law, all right? Unconditional promise to pay. A negotiable instrument, the definition is not dollar. It's a promise, all right? I hope you guys gather that. A fixed amount of money, so if it's 10,000, 20, 30,000, it must be a fixed amount of money. It must be payable on demand or at a definite time, and it must be payable to the bearer or to order. This includes promissory notes, checks, drafts, bill of exchange, and money orders, just to break it down in layman's terms. Okay. Now, I want to talk about what doesn't count as a negotiable instrument. Okay. What doesn't count as a negotiable instrument are notices or statements that don't have a promise to pay. So if you put them on notice, but you have a promise to pay on there, any type of language that says you promise to pay something, that makes it a negotiable instrument. But if it doesn't have that, then it's not a negotiable instrument. Letters with vague language or no payee, so you have to be very specific of who is being paid to. Anything with conditions, I will pay if, okay? So a conditional acceptance is not a negotiable instrument, okay? And this is typically why I say you either do one or the other. Either you're going to submit your negotiable instrument and they refuse it or they deny it, or you submit your negotiable instrument and they, or you submit a conditional acceptance letter and then they do their proofs and then you provide a negotiable instrument, okay? Anything that doesn't show a sum of a certain amount, okay, the exact amount. So if it's a $12,000 loan, then you need to put 12,000. An instrument not backed by proper authorization or without UCC support. So you have to understand the UCC, you have to understand consumer law, because even if you put these together, if you don't know the backing behind it, it's not going to work because you're going to be challenged. Okay? Hope you guys really are understanding that. It doesn't matter if you put this negotiable instrument together perfectly. If you have no understanding on how to enforce it, then they'll pretty much just walk all over you. Okay? Now, I want to also pull up another law, UCCC 3-115, which is a incomplete instrument. Okay? Now, I wanted to tie this to this conversation because obviously negotiable instruments are, we understand that this is one of the first key points when it comes to discharging debt and negotiable instrument. But I want to talk about what an incomplete instrument is. Okay, an incomplete instrument means a signed writing, whether or not issued by the signer, and the contents of which show at the time of signing that is incomplete, but that the signer intended it to be complete by the addition of words or numbers. So just to combat the aspect of what it is not, okay, if you miss some of these key points, yes, technically it's not a negotiable instrument, but if you intended it to be a negotiable instrument, they must honor it according to what an incomplete instrument is. Now, I want to break this down a little in some layman's terms, okay? If an incomplete instrument is an instrument under Section 3-104, it may be enforced as completed even if the blanks were filled in later or as long as the completion was authorized. So if you send a negotiable instrument, maybe mess it up, you can pretty much take that same negotiable instrument, complete it, and pretty much say that this was your intention, okay? So here's what it means. UCCC 3-115 pretty much gives legal standing that instruments that are signed but partially blank, okay, if the signer intended it to be completed later, so meaning you created a negotiable instrument, but you missed a step or whatever the case may be, and if the person filling in the blanks was authorized to do so. Once completed, the instrument can be treated as valid and enforceable, just like any fully completed one, so long as it's not altered fraudulently, okay? So here's how to apply UCCC 3-115 to your strategy. And this is if you create a negotiable instrument that isn't, you know what I mean, like doesn't fit the criteria of a negotiable instrument or it's incomplete, such as a remittance coupon. Usually falls under the category of an incomplete instrument because maybe it's some endorsements or some things we didn't sign or fill out. Sometimes it'll show up as an incomplete instrument or they can treat it as such. So here's how you create a lawful instrument being flexible, all right? Let's say you are creating a promissory note, a private bond, or a bill of exchange, and you leave a date, dollar amount, or the payee blank, intending it for it to be completed during a processing or endorsement. Under UCCC 3-115, you can state in a cover letter or affidavit, this instrument is intentionally incomplete and shall be completed by authorized receiving party upon acceptance or processing. Now you have preserved the lawful intent behind the partial document. So again, And this is why I always say, don't be afraid to write to debt collectors. Even if you create a negotiable instrument, don't send the negotiable instrument alone. Always send some level of cover letter with your own understanding of what you are sending. You get what I'm saying? Any laws that support it. If you can do this, you are literally putting in the record that you know what you're doing and you are moving with intention. Okay? Now, dealing with instruments completed by others, let's say you tender an instrument and the bank or the collector fills in the details like the account number, date of settlement, payment amount, and they try to say this was altered. You can invoke the UCC 3-115 to argue that completion of the instrument was authorized and lawful under the terms of performance. So if they fill out your negotiable instrument or completed or whatever the case may be, and they try to say that something was altered, you can argue that you authorized them to do that, and this is your lawful performance. Okay? Now, how to respond to a rejection of an incomplete instrument if you do it incorrectly. If a creditor or court rejects your instrument claiming it's not valid because it was incomplete or filled in after the fact, you can respond with language like, pursuant to UCC 3-115, the instrument tendered was incomplete but it was an authorized negotiable instrument. Completion occurred in good faith and is consistent with the original intent of the issuer. This instrument is enforceable as completed. So whether or not it's incomplete, according to B, it says if an incomplete instrument is an instrument under section 3-104, it may be enforced according to its terms if it's not completed, according to its terms as augmented by completion. If incomplete instrument is not an instrument under section 3-104, but after the completion, the requirements under section 3-104 are met, the instrument may be enforced according to its terms as augmented by completion. So you can send an incomplete instrument, and if you directly express that this is something used to perform on a contract and it just needs to be completed, and you have language in your notice or cover letters that express that, then they have to treat it like a completed instrument if they decide to complete it. Okay? Because when it comes to the coupon, it really does take two parties. All right? The reason why you want to kind of move like this and understand the law, because this really establishes that you know what you are talking about. You know the law. So they can't manipulate that. They have to debunk the law that backs up your claim. And they may say things like, oh, that's irrelevant or that doesn't count, but under what grounds? How doesn't it not count when it's directly expressed in the law? Okay? You will have to literally like read this out and tell me how this doesn't make sense to that aspect. Okay? So you can also use it in your affidavits and notice. You can directly cite UCC 3-115 in your affidavit of truth, your notice of tender, your response to dishonor, your administrative default. So an example clause that you can put is the instrument attached hereto through incomplete at the time of issue is lawfully enforceable under UCC 3-115, and the undersigned authorized its completion in accordance with the agreed terms of the settlement or performance. Okay? The reason why this is powerful because it shields you from any fraud accusations, because they'll try to hit you with 18 USC 514 fictitious obligations, because this technically is a class B felony if you send in a fictitious or fraudulent negotiable instrument. And a lot of times they'll come back and say what you're doing is fraudulent, but you're supposed to debunk what they say by responding back and having them prove whatever you did was fraudulent. Okay? When they say something is fraudulent, you don't want to acquiesce to that. You want to call them out on that and tell them basically to stop the defamation. Okay? It also makes your tender valid even if it was filed in after sending, and it shows that you're operating with legal knowledge and lawful intent. So again, this is just giving you more backing to your negotiable instrument. And I wanted to talk about this and really compound on this because these are some of the things that people do not talk about. It's not publicly talked about. We talk about the negotiable instrument. We don't talk about when it gets incomplete or when we are doing things improperly and potentially run into a space where they try to treat us like we're committing some level of fraud. All right? Be careful. Now, you cannot use 3-115 to justify forged or radically altered instrument. Always keep proof of intent. This is why you send an affidavit, cover letters, conditional acceptances, and never issue blank instruments without clear instructions. All right. understand that when you are going and doing any of these processes when it comes to private banking or debt discharge, your main superpower is going to be your evidence. Your main superpower is going to be what you write on the letters. Okay, a lot of us want to just send in our gold checks, send in our blank instruments, or send in a coupon and not really do nothing after that. I talk to many people all the time that say, hey, I sent in this and it didn't work. Well, and I say, okay, well, what packet did you send with it? No, I just sent in the coupon. That's why you're at where you're at right now. Okay. Now, why does everything what I'm talking about matter as it pertains to discharge? Because many people try to discharge debt using promissory notes, bonded instruments, remittance coupons, private checks, or bill of exchange. But here's the thing, unless that document meets UCC 3-104, it cannot be enforced. Okay? And you are acting in honor with full intent to perform, it won't work. So if you're sending this negotiable instrument and not really using language that says, hey, look, I'm performing for full satisfaction of this alleged obligation, then it doesn't really fall under the category of a negotiable instrument and it cannot be enforced. A lawful negotiable instrument creates a valid offer to pay, shifts the burden to the other party to accept or dishonor, and it becomes a commercial defense when paired with evidence and process. Now, here's the key. When you send a negotiable instrument, we know that it's a financial instrument to the bank. Okay? So in no way, shape, or form can they make it seem like that it's not. Okay? So let me give you an example. A personal promissory note says, I promise to pay $10,000 to John Doe on July 1st, 2026. Okay? A bill of exchange that names the drawer, the drawee, the amount, the date, and it is signed. And a money order issued and signed properly. Those are the only times when it falls under the category of a negotiable instrument. Why? Because it's an unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money, okay, that is payable to the bearer at the order at the time it is issued, or payable on demand at a definite time. Okay? That's what makes it a negotiable instrument. Invalid examples are what's called an affidavit of payment with no payee or fixed amount, a statement like this debt is null and void under common law, and a remittance slip that is not endorsed and doesn't state the terms. Okay? So just to talk about remittance real quick, since we're on the topic, a lot of people ask me, can you do this? Can you create a coupon or whatever the case may be? And I have a video where I've literally took an example coupon and pretty much showed you guys how to properly endorse it. Okay? But 31 CFR 328.5 and 31 CFR 328.6 literally tells you exactly how you should endorse your coupon. Okay? It says it. And it is up to you to go read this law. Any person that reads this law can fully understand and can read English. And I don't mean to, belittle or anything like that. But a lot of people that ask me, okay, Bet, like, can you do a video of you creating a coupon or whatever the case may be? I tell those people all the time that, number one, there are videos already. But number two, it's literally written in the law how you should put it together. And you know what? I'll read it for you right now. The endorsement must be imprinted on the left-hand portion of the face of the security. With the first line, they're all parallel to the left edge of the security. So if you know your left from right, then you know to put the endorsement on the left-hand side. Okay? And in such a manner to be clearly legible and in such position that it will not obscure the serial number, series designation, or any identifying data. So don't cover anything that has addresses or account numbers or whatever the case may be. You can cover the amount or whatever the case may be, but it's clear. And cover the smallest possible portion of the text on the face of the security. The face of the security is the front. The dimensions of the endorsement should be 4 inches in width and 1.5 inches in height. It gives you the size, and it must be imprinted by a stamp or a plate of such character as will render the endorsement substantially erratical. So a stamp, okay? A stamp. That is the best way to endorse it. You can write it or whatever the case may be, but a stamp, all right? It says the name of the Federal Reserve Bank of the district must appear on the plate or the stamp used in printing the endorsement, and the presentation to the appropriate branch of the Federal Reserve Bank name will be considered the presentation to the bank. When securities are to be presented to the Bureau of Fiscal Service, the words United States Treasury should be used in lieu of Federal Reserve Bank of Fiscal Agent of the United States. So instead of you putting Federal Reserve Bank Fiscal Agent of the United States, you would just put United States Treasury in lieu of it. Now, the reason why I talk about 328.5 is because this is created as if you are sending a endorsement to the Federal Reserve Bank. But all it says is to remove this part and put United States Treasury. This is what you put on your stamp. This is what you stamp in the left-hand corner on the left side, on the left face of the security. You remove that word and you literally put it on and you stamp it on there. You have now endorsed the coupon. But you don't just do this. And yes, notice I'm not saying put UCC 3-104, put all this letter and all this information and all these fill in the blanks on the coupon itself. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to follow 328.5 and 328.6. Sorry to hop in your ass, but this is what I'm trying to tell you. For anybody that's trying to do the coupon method, it is right here in 31 CFR 328.5 and 328.6. Read. If you don't want to read, that's on you. Okay, my smart people that's going to hear what I'm saying, is on the right frequency, is going to go read this if they really want to do the coupon. Stop asking for one to create a video of me doing what is literally here. I'm going to keep it on the law. Okay, and if you can't do this, don't do it. All right, if you can't read this, don't do it. You get what I'm saying? Or else you're going to be hit with this 18 USC 514. Okay, you're going to be hit with this UCC 3-115. And then if you're not including any type of notice, if you're not putting them on notice or putting any type of cover letter of what you're attempting to do, then they don't have to accept it, or they can ignore it, and you won't really have no legal standing to stand on. But even for me, if I did it wrong, I'll be able to enforce it because I know the laws in the UCC that allows me to be able to do it. Because the communication is not just in you. Just because you put together a coupon properly, if they come back and say you can't use that, what is your standing and how are you going to be able to challenge that? I hope you guys gathered that right there. Man, that was a key piece. 20 minutes in, man. I hope y'all really got this far. Okay? Now, how to use one lawfully. Here's how to properly perform with a negotiable instrument. Follow these steps. If you're going to do promissory note, coupon remittance, I don't care what you are doing, anything you are determining to use as the negotiable instrument, follow these steps. You dig what I'm saying? It's not legal advice. It's not financial advice. This is what I would do. Okay? Now, create a lawful instrument. Use plain UCC compliant language. Don't try to use sovereignty and this, that, and the third language. You don't need to. Show the amount, the payee, when it is payable. Sign it with the full intent to discharge, because obviously if you use the full intent to discharge, then you have the accord and satisfaction law that pretty much UCC 3-311, that if you put that this is something for full settlement and satisfaction of the debt, they must honor it and accord and satisfy it. So boom, create your lawful instrument properly. Read whatever laws you need to read, whether it's UCC 1-304, 3-104, whether it's UCC 3-115, unless it's UCC 3-603. Fill it out and do it properly. The coupon, fill it out. Track the process, mail it certified with a cover letter or a notice of tender. Retain proof of mailing and signature. Follow up with a commercial affidavit. If no response, if they don't respond, let me be clear, that is dishonor, and you want to send them a default notice or a opportunity to cure notice. Okay? You want to file that notice of dishonor and opportunity to cure. You want to log the evidence for administrative record and court presentation, and you want to pair it with the IRS form if needed. Some report a tendered value on a 1099 MISC if accepted, so you can use a form 4506T to track if anything was ported under your SSN through the IRS. That was pretty fast. So maybe you can go back, you can go review it, whatever the case may be. I'm going to put this step-by-step process in my school community. Go ahead and tap into the school community. You get 7 days free. All right, if you like it, great. If you don't like it, you can cancel it. But last thing I want to put out there, be strategic, not reckless. Being strategic is understanding who you are dealing with and moving with understanding, strategy, and moving with caution, moving carefully. Understand that this is not a magic instrument that as soon as you do it, it's just gonna work. So you can't be reckless and just do it, send it in, and hope for the best. 30 days go by, you don't get nothing, and now you reaching out to me saying, oh, well, I sent this a couple of months ago, but you didn't even have a strategy of what you was gonna do when they didn't respond. Don't send it if you don't know what they're gonna do, if you don't have no contingency plans for everything that could happen, that could potentially happen, like your lights getting cut off, like them putting it on your credit report, like them dishonoring you and ignoring you, like them following through with their judgment. These are the things that can still happen to you, and if you're not prepared for it, then I wouldn't even do this. Keep paying your bill, okay? So make sure you learn the process, make sure you perfect the instrument, and execute with clean paperwork and full intent. If you ever had a negotiable instrument rejected and you want to start doing this lawfully, comment down below. Perform in honor. Say that, perform in honor. Drop any questions that you have in regards to the negotiable instrument. I'll do the video on it. Tap in with the school community. The link will be in the description. Tap in with my one-on-one mentorship. I help people not only fix their credit, get funding, but I also do help people on a one-on-one basis if they have troubles with this, but only for a limited time. So tap into that link. It is an application, so I don't take everybody. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You guys have been running it up. Thank you guys again for the continuous growth and support. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.